right. Okay, so I was on Facebook earlier, just scrolling through the feed, and like I usually do, and I came across a video that a good friend of mine, Dan, posted, and it was about Carl Switzer, Carl Gene Switzer, or otherwise known as Carl Alfalfa Switzer, because he played Alfalfa on Our Gang in 1938. So anyway, it was about how he was murdered at a young age. He was 31 when he died. And it's weird though, because it was over a dog and money. And I want to talk about that today. Yeah, the death of Carl Switzer. Why? Because I can. Yeah. I don't know, my internet's being a little bit buggy today. I don't know why, it just is. So hopefully this doesn't end up all choppy or anything like that. But anyway, I need to turn this fan on because I'm starting to overheat. I don't like overheating. It's really warm outside today. It's plus 10 and mostly sunny. But that's not why we're here. We are here because of this guy. Right here. See how slow that was? This is a screenshot from Our Gang. Yeah. That's him, alright. But anyway, let's see here. A little bit of history, like most videos do. Carl Dean Switzer, August 7th, 1927 to January 21st, 1959, was an American singer, child actor, dog breeder, and guide. Remember that dog breeder thing. He was best known for his role as Alfalfa. Wow. He's best known for his role as Alfalfa in the short subject series Our Gang. Switzer began his, otherwise known as Little Rascals, Our Gang is an American series of comedy short films chronicling a group of poor neighborhood children and their adventures, created by film producer Hal Roach, also the producer of the Laurel and Hardy films. Our Gang shorts were produced from 1922 to 1944. So anyway, Switzer began his career as a child actor in the mid-1930s, appearing in the Our Gang short subject series as Alfalfa. One of the series' most popular and best remembered characters. After leaving the series in 1940, Switzer struggled to find substantial roles owing to typecasting. As an adult, he appeared mainly in bit parts and B-movies. He later became a dog breeder and hunting guide. Switzer married in 1954 and had one son before divorcing his wife in 1957. He was fatally shot by an acquaintance in a dispute over money in January '59. And that's what I want to talk about. In the midst of, this is his death. Okay, this is basically the story here. In the midst of his legal and financial woes, Switzer agreed to train a hunting dog, a treeing walker. A treeing walker coonhound. The breed of hound descended from the English and American foxhounds. The breed originated in the United States when a stolen dog known as Tennessee Lead was crossed into the Walker Hound in the 19th century. Alright. For for Moses Samuel Bud Stilts. Stilts was a longtime friend and sometimes business partner whom Switzer had met while working with Roy Rogers on various productions at the Corriganville Movie Ranch. While in Switzer's possession, the dog ran off to chase after a bear. Wow. Okay. Stilts was unsympathetic towards Switzer, firm in his demands that the former child star must either return his dog or pay him the equivalent of the dog's value. Sounds like a plot from an old TV show. Unable to produce cash to settle the debt, Switzer took out ads in newspapers and put up flyers offering a reward for the safe return of the animal. Eventually, the dog was located and brought to the bar where Switzer was working at the time. The rescuer was rewarded with $35 in cash and $15 in alcoholic beverages, the equivalent of about $450 in 2020. The loss of his $50 did not sit well with Switzer. During an emotional conversation with his friend Jack Piot, a 37-year-old unit still photographer, that took place a few days later. The two decided that Stilts should reimburse Switzer Stilts should reimburse Switzer the finder's fee. Their argument was that the dog was Stilts's and not Switzer's. Right, exactly. Switzer shouldn't have had to pay it. Stilts should give him the money that he paid as a reward for the dog. Unless Switzer... See, now that's where it gets kind of weird, because if Switzer's the one that decided to give the reward, then Stilts shouldn't have had to pay it back. Because it wasn't his decision, it was Switzer's decision to give him the reward. Yeah. Anyway, that's just my opinion. The two arrived at Stilts' home in Mission Hills at 10400 Columbus Avenue. In Mission Hills, huh? Let's see here. I'm going to Google that. I don't know why, I just want to Google that. Oh, there it is. Ooh. Why is it blurred out? What? What? Seriously? The house is blurred out. No, I didn't know that at all. Huh. Interesting. Well, that's crazy. Still shared the home with his wife Rita Corrigan and his stepchildren. Switzer and Piot intended to demand money from Stilts. Though differing accounts of the event exist, all agree that Stilts was struck over the left side of his head with a glass clock. He later retreated to his room to retrieve a .38 caliber revolver, which Switzer wrestled him for. Their struggle caused the gun to discharge and almost shoot Tom Corrigan, Stilts' 14-year-old stepson. Wow. Okay. Crazy. Again, a plot. Yeah, you can make a movie out of this, really. Stilts' account of the event was one of self-defense, testifying that Switzer had banged on his front door, yelling, "Let me in or I'll kick in the door!" The threat was followed by a struggle that began with one of the men, Switzer or Piot, striking Stilts with the clock. This prompted Stiltz to retrieve his firearm, which Switzer grabbed for. The gun discharged accidentally, almost shooting Corrigan. Switzer then, according to Stiltz, threatened him with a knife and yelled, "I'm gonna kill you!" Stiltz fired and shot Switzer in the groin. Ow. Ooh. Oh. I'm sorry, but as a man, speaking for all men across the world, ouch! That must have hurt. Wow. Huh. But what hurt worse? That or John Wayne Bobbitt? I guess we'll never know, because I wouldn't want either one to happen to me at all. Anyway, damaging an artery that caused massive internal bleeding. No crap. Wow. Switzer was dead when he arrived at the hospital. Really? Oh. Anyway. Oh, poor Alfalfa. Damn. Tom Corrigan's account differed significantly from his stepfather's. He told investigators that Stiltz shot Switzer as he and Piot were leaving after the gun's accidental discharge that almost hit Corrigan. Switzer turned to Piot and said, and said they needed to leave. You need to leave! The two were headed for the door when Stiltz then fired the fatal shot. Switzer never drew a knife, as Stiltz had claimed he had. Interesting. Corrigan was never called to testify at the coroner's inquest, and Stiltz testified in his own favor. His testimony was taken to be truthful, despite physical evidence that contradicted his account and his past perjury conviction. Years later, Corrigan stood by what he told officers had happened that night and said his stepfather did not have to kill Switzer. Exactly. He just wanted to pay him, he just wanted the money that he paid for the reward. That's all he wanted. He didn't want to get killed. He didn't want him to, he didn't want any kind of violence at all. Just like, hey, look, I gave this guy a reward. I would like compensation for that. That's it. At least that's what I believe. Anyway, there is a later account. Shall we get into that? Yes, we shall. Yeah, I'm starting to like these longer videos. Yeah, it lets you spend more time with me. The shooting was judged to be self-defense. During the inquest regarding Switzer's death, it was revealed that what was reported as a hunting knife was in fact a penknife. It had been found by crime scene investigators under his body. Over 42 years later, in January 2001, a third witness came forward and gave his version. Tom Corrigan, the son of Western movie star Ray Crash Corrigan. There he is. And stepson of Moses Stiltz, was a child who was present the night Switzer was killed. It was more like murder, Corrigan told reporters. He said he heard the knock on the front door, and Switzer said, "Western Union for Bud Stiltz." Corrigan's mother, Rita Corrigan, opened the door to find a drunk Switzer. complaining about a perceived month-old debt and demanding repayment. Corrigan said Switzer entered the house first, followed by Jack Piot. Switzer said he was going to beat up Stilts, and Stilts confronted Switzer with a .38 caliber revolver in his hand. Corrigan said that Switzer grabbed the revolver and Switzer struggled over it. Yeah, Stilts and Switzer struggled over it. He said Piot broke a glass-domed clock over Stilts' head, causing Stilts' eye to swell shut. During the struggle, a shot was fired into the ceiling, and Corrigan was struck in the leg by a fragment. Corrigan said his 2 younger sisters ran to a neighbor's house to call for help. "Well, we shot Tommy. Enough of this," he said as he recalled Switzer saying, just before Switzer and Piot started to leave the house. Corrigan said he had just stepped out the front door when he heard, but did not witness, a second shot behind him. He said he then turned and saw Switzer sliding down the wall with a surprised look on his face after Stilts had shot him. Corrigan said he saw a closed penknife at Switzer's side, which he presumed fell out of his pocket or his hand. He said he then saw his stepfather shove Piot against the kitchen counter and threatened to kill him too. Ooh. Corrigan said they heard emergency sirens as Piot begged for his life, and that he thought this was the only reason Stilts did not kill Piot. Corrigan said his stepfather lied in his account of the event before the coroner's jury. Corrigan said a Los Angeles Police Department detective interviewed him and asked if he would testify before the judge. Corrigan said he agreed to, but he was never called before the court. He didn't have to kill him, Corrigan said decades later. Moses Stilts died in 1983 at the age of 62. Wow. So he got to live. Wow, that's crazy. So the burial. Carl Switzer was interred at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Hollywood, California. Because he died the same day as Cecil B. DeMille, his death received only minor notice in most newspapers. That's crazy how that happens. You know, it's like, oh, who was that? See? I can't even remember. But somebody did die the same day as Michael Jackson, but they were only mentioned. Michael Jackson held the news stories for like a week or a month afterwards. And there's one person. Yeah. I can't remember off the top of my head. So if you can remember who that was, I want to see it in the comments. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm thinking Barbara Streisand for some reason, but I know it wasn't her. I don't know. But anyway, his death received only minor notice in the newspapers, as DeMille's obituary dominated the columns. Yeah, see? Because Cecil B. DeMille was an American film director, producer, and actor. Between 1914 and 1958, he made 70 features, both silent and sound films. He's acknowledged as a founding father of American cinema and the most commercially successful producer-director in film history. So of course he's going to dominate the press. You know, just like Michael Jackson dominated the press because he's all over the place. Yeah. Everything he touched was #1 hit. Crazy. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Switzer had appeared as a slave, or uncredited, in the last film for which DeMille was credited as a director, The Ten Commandments. Oh, he was in that? Huh. Interesting. He was in the Ten Commandments as a slave. Interesting. I bet you anything nobody even noticed. Nobody even noticed, because by that time he was probably 1956. Yeah. By that time he was probably like like so forgotten. There we go. By that time he was probably so forgotten that nobody would have even recognized him, even if they did see him in the movie. Switzer's gravestone features the square and compasses of Freemasonry and an image of a hunting dog, reflecting his dog training hunting guide interests at the time of his death. Huh. He was in I Dream of Jeannie. Ten Commandments, 1956. Yeah, Between Heaven and Hell, Motorcycle Gang, and the Defiant Ones. But like I said, probably wasn't even recognized. Alright, because, yeah. See, 1958 was his final film role. Our Gang. 220 Our Gang short films. What? That's crazy. That is crazy. But they're short films, so they're probably not really that long. But yeah, he died in 1959. He was 31 years old. And I don't know, but I think that's what he looked like when he died. Alright, a little bit unrecognizable. So where are these Freemason things? Of course they're not going to show it, because it's evil. Evil! Probably under that. Yeah, see, there's a little something there. Yeah, it's right there too. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Yes, I have a Freemason dagger, but I'm not going to go and find it and show it to you. I did do a video about it. Yeah. Bought it from a company I was working for. But anyway, aside from that, oh, wow. That's crazy though. I mean, he was murdered, but he didn't have to be. You know, it's like the one that the guy that shot him. Yeah. After being bashed over the head, he ran and got his gun. He didn't even have to be bashed over the head. You know, they could have just knocked on the door. I mean, they were drunk, right? So anything could have happened. But basically, what should have happened was they knock on the door. He comes to the door. They talk to him about the reward money, saying, "Hey, look, I gave this guy $50. Do you mind paying me back since it was your dog and I helped you find him?" You know, it's kind of like if you got a friend who lost an animal and somebody said, "Hey, I have the animal but I can't take it anywhere," and you take it upon yourself to drive over there and pick up the animal and drive it to your friend, it would probably be the equivalent of saying, "Hey, look, I spent this much in gas money. Do you mind reimbursing me for that? And here's your pet." You know, it's the equivalent of that. And if he said, "No, you did that on your own. I never asked, I never said that there'd be a reward. You did that on your own, so I'm not going to pay you back." And if they both agreed on that, that would be fine. But no. They stupidly went to his house drunk, probably said the wrong thing. The guy bashed him over the head, thinking, "Hey, this guy's not going to give us the money." And so he went and grabbed his gun. They got into a tussle over it. Almost shot his stepson, right? Which is probably why he shot at them. Because, hey, look, my stepson was almost killed tonight. Payback. Boom. Shot his nuts. That is a bad way to go, though. Seriously. Oh, man. Yeah. You just see him up in heaven. "So, how'd you get here?" "Now, someone shot me in the nuts over $50. That's the skinny of it. And that's exactly how it happened. They should make a movie about that. And if they did make a movie about that, I want to see it. I want to see that. Because that whole thing is just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Oh, and yesterday's video about the Mount St. Helens thing, they did make a movie about it. I saved it in my library on Stremio, but let's see here. You can't see this. It's called St. Helens. It was made in 1981. It's a 92-minute adventure drama directed by Ernest Pintoff, starring Art Carney, David Huffman, and Cassie Yates. But I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I will. Eventually. I will watch it eventually, and I'll let you know how it is. But yeah. I'm going to go, because I've taken up too much of your time. And yeah, the longer these videos are, the longer it takes to save them. And I'm sitting here all night just waiting for it to save. So, yeah, I'll be